Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ocean City. Woo! I'm sure you all share this same emotion, but I'm thrilled to see all of us here. All right, truly, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I need to pause right here and now because it's been a tough couple years and some things have happened, but we are in the middle of greatness this evening. We have truly a great one who is here, and we haven't seen him for a while. And that's important because he retired a little while ago, and I would be remiss if I did not recognize the great one from MIMS, who is in our midst and retired and is over here in the corner, Mr. Jim Brown. I now own this. Jim retired in the middle of all of this. They tried to get a retirement party, and COVID reared its ugly head, and in a moment of caution, we've postponed that. I was at MIMS with Dr. Delbridge last week or 2 weeks ago. We were together, and we were talking about that and how things are going to go, and I kind of nudged in that direction. Hey, we've got to make sure we're doing this, because there's so much of that, transitioning away from Jim to get you off the hot plate. There's so much of that we need to look at. And part of that is just coming together to do the things that we've done. Many of you were with us in October when we had an event for the officers, and we were in the Naval Academy in the auditorium. Whoop. Go ahead. Mrs. Holleran, she wants to get it in there. If you could hold your applause, I'm going to introduce you in a little bit, all right? And I'm going to give you plenty of time. But regardless, we did have some time to do that, and we were all looking forward to coming here tonight in this format. And as such, we need to begin in a traditional way, the way we usually like to begin. And before I ask you all to do this, I would like to ask our veterans and any active duty service members in the room to please rise and be recognized. Please remain standing. Please remain standing. I'm trying to keep you away from calisthenics. And now would you all please rise as we welcome our pipes and drums to present our nation's colors. Ladies and gentlemen, the Baltimore County Fire Department Honor Guard. Please remain standing through our invocation. At this time, our Miss Fire Prevention Ambassador, Brianna Reardon, will offer the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're very proud to have with us Captain Kirsten Koenig to offer the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Our invocation this evening will be offered by Chief Chaplain John Long.
Before we pray, I have some information I need to share with everyone. I just got off the phone with Skip Mahan's wife, Elaine. Skip is suffering from ALS and has chosen to have a trach and feeding tube put in, so please keep Skip in your prayers. Also, we need to continue to pray for the Wicomico County Deputy Sheriff. His funeral will be this Tuesday while we're down here, so we need to keep the Wicomico County and all those folks in prayers. And today also, Philadelphia lost a firefighter in a building collapse, so continue to keep Philadelphia in your prayers. And Dr. Harry Carter, a lot of you's traveled around, has passed away, a great mentor, a great writer, and leader in the fire service. Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, as we finally gather together again here in Ocean City, Father, we thank you for the dedication and work that everyone has put into the Maryland State Firemen Association. We thank you for the leadership for Joel and Becky as they led their organizations. We thank you for the committee chairs and the committee members who have done outstanding work via the computers. We thank you for all those committee members who have given up their time to work for the Maryland State Firemen Association. And Father, most importantly, we thank you for the families that support everyone who works for the Maryland State Firemen Association. As we gather tonight, Father, we just ask your blessings on this banquet. We ask your blessing on the food and those who have prepared it. And we ask this all in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Chief Chaplain. Honor Guard Commander, at your discretion.
Colors, right, face, sniper, light. Colors, forward, march.
Would you join me in thanking all of the members of the Baltimore County Fire Department Honor Guard, Captain Kirsten and our Piper. Please be seated. If you have not done so already, please begin to enjoy your salad. Dinner will be served shortly, and then we'll see you afterwards to begin our program. During the meal, you're going to see two videos running. One is from our corporate sponsors, and the second is the partners of the MSFA video. Enjoy dinner.
Good evening, President McCrea, President Wathen, and esteemed colleagues and attendees of the 2022 Convention of the Association. It is my honor to join you this evening during the Joint Officers Banquet. I'm sorry that I cannot be with you today in person. I am looking forward to the opportunity to see you on Monday. It's hard to believe, but it's been a year since each of you took the oath of office to lead your organizations. I would like to thank you for your leadership over the past year and the partnership between the association and the Maryland Department of Emergency Management. Our department's vision is to shape a resilient Maryland where communities thrive. And to establish this vision, we rely on partners like you to meet the challenges and hazards we face as people of this state and to meet that and to take that head on. Through this partnership, we have worked together to improve the services we provide to the people of Maryland. Over the past year, we have coordinated an increased variety of response and recovery operations in emerging areas of our profession. As our field broadens in scope, it is more important than ever to continue to pursue a culture of whole community preparedness in our state. From first responders to you, to emergency management professionals, to Marylanders, and inclusive of our elected officials, preparedness is a shared responsibility. It calls for the involvement of everyone. It is only when we work together that we can achieve true resilience when struck by natural disasters, acts of terrorism, and pandemics. Resilience also requires legislation that supports the people and the resources needed to achieve it. I also want to thank you for your support during the 2022 legislative session. While we were successful in supporting the passage of several bills, there is one in particular that is very important. Senate Bill 630 was signed into law by Governor Hogan this year to establish an Office of Resilience within the Maryland Department of Emergency Management. The new office will be led by a Chief Resilience Officer and will coordinate state efforts to prepare for the effects of climate change and natural disasters. This will mark a new chapter for building a cohesive statewide strategy to connect preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery operations for all hazards. The legislation has been championed by Senator Katie Fry Hester from Carroll and Howard counties, Speaker Pro Tem of the Maryland House of Delegates, Cherie Sample Hughes from Dorchester and Wacomico counties, and Delegate Courtney Watson from Howard County. Our journey to become a more resilient state and nation continues, and it requires all of us to be fully committed to the cause. I would like to convey my gratitude to you, President McCrea and President Wathen, and to you, emergency responders and your families, for all that each of you do every day for the people of Maryland. It is clear that your dedication to your members and the people of Maryland has had a positive impact in your community and the lives of the people you serve. I hope each of you get some time now to spend with your families and continue to enjoy the evening. On behalf of the team at the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, we thank you. Take care and be safe.
President McCrea, we appreciate you stepping up to lead the Maryland State Firemen's Association during these unprecedented and unpredictable times. Over the past year, you have demonstrated your ability to promote, advocate for, and represent our EMS, fire, and rescue organizations while tackling the ever-changing challenges of leading through current events. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and instructors at the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute, please accept this plaque as a token of our appreciation and gratitude for all that you have done. President Wathen, we are thankful for your leadership of the Ladies Auxiliary over the past year. Your dedication to promoting and supporting the Maryland State Firemen's Association during challenging times has been exemplary. Today, we recognize your commitment and your achievements. We also acknowledge and applaud the time you have devoted to the organization. On behalf of all of us at the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute, we present this plaque to you as a sign of our gratitude.
Greetings, MSFA and LAMSFA members and guests. As the State EMS Medical Director at MIMS, I appreciate the strong spirit of collaboration that we enjoy with the Maryland State Firemen's Association. The past few years have been especially turbulent. However, Maryland's volunteer firefighters and EMS clinicians have stepped up to meet the challenges and overcome them, emerging stronger than ever. I would like to express my gratitude to MSFA President McCrea and LAMSFA President Wathen for their leadership and partnership during this past year. They've helped the volunteer fire and EMS community continue to adapt and overcome during the pandemic. For example, through our collaborative efforts, we've expanded COVID testing and vaccination for public safety personnel as well as our neighbors to meet demand. Maryland's firefighters and EMS clinicians administered over 100,000 vaccines statewide. I continue to enjoy working with the MSFA's EMS committee as we develop and implement new protocols to bring our patients the best possible care in their communities. I want to thank all of you for your commitment to lifelong learning as we bring new medications and interventions to the field. And I look forward to brighter days and working with the MSFA and LAMSFA leadership in the year ahead.
As the Executive Director of MEMS, the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services Systems, I am keenly aware of the crucial roles played by volunteer firefighters, EMS clinicians, and their departments to ensure that Maryland's EMS system is continuously striving to be the best that it can be. The importance of the job that the Maryland State Firemen's Association and the Ladies Auxiliary do to represent their interests, organize their collective initiatives, and help shape public policy cannot be overstated. The MSFA and Ladies Auxiliary are valued collaborators. The trusted and skillful leadership of Presidents McCrea and Wathen over the past year has been integral to the ongoing success and accomplishments of the MSFA and the Ladies Auxiliary, especially in these challenging times. They have carried the staff with distinction, with open ears, and with outstretched hands to champion important causes. Joel and Becky, it is only fitting that we salute you and your leadership. Without doubt, the fabric of Maryland's EMS system is stronger because of it. On behalf of MEMS and the Maryland State EMS Board, thank you for your service, your dedication, and your camaraderie. Thank you and Godspeed.
On behalf of Maryland State Police Superintendent Colonel Jerry Jones and the entire Department of Sworn and Civilian Personnel, I congratulate our past President and Ladies Auxiliary President being honored here this evening. We're truly proud and appreciative of the service each of you have provided the Maryland State Firemen's Association, your home departments, and the communities you serve. Without selfless leaders such as yourselves and the volunteer men and women you lead, the MSP and the Aviation Command could not fulfill our mission. Since the first medevac over 50 years ago, fire department ground providers worked alongside our pilots and medics, providing life-saving services to those in need. Since then, your personnel have assisted the Maryland State Police with over 150,000 life-saving patient transports. I'd like to personally thank Joel McCrea, MSFA President, and outgoing Ladies Auxiliary MSFA President Becky Wathen for their leadership. We're extremely grateful for extraordinary contributions while in office. As emergency responders, we've experienced some difficult times and unparalleled challenges these past few years. We applaud your dedication to Maryland's emergency medical services and for the many years you have dedicated to helping others. Congratulations.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the beach. It's Brian Geraci, the Maryland State Fire Marshal, here just to say thank you to Joel and Becky for their many years of service to the MSFA and the LAMSFA during some difficult times, obviously, with the pandemic. But their leadership really showed through the last several years, including as their presidencies wind down here at the beach. We just want to say thank you for all your efforts and everything that you've done, and appreciate that partnership that you have with the Office of the State Fire Marshal. We look forward to working with Ben and Malia in the upcoming years, and hopefully we'll have a great session here at the beach, and everybody will have a good time. So thanks again for having me, and enjoy your evening.
Good afternoon. My name is Christy Snedeker, and I'm the Vice President of the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center.
And my name is Becky Gilmore. I am the Trauma Program Manager for the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center.
On behalf of all of us at the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center, We would like to take this opportunity to thank the 2021 outgoing presidents of the Maryland State Firemen's Association, Mr. Joel McCrea, and Ladies Auxiliary Maryland State Firemen's Association, Becky Wathen. Thank you for all you have done over the past year during your presidencies, and also for your extensive service throughout your careers.
Your leadership over the past year has continued to uphold the mission of the MSFA, as you have accepted and fulfilled the challenge to serve, promote, advocate, and represent the MSFA to the highest possible standard. In recognition of our gratitude and appreciation for your service, we at the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center would like to present each of you with a personalized embroidered shock trauma jacket. Please accept this as a symbol that we consider each of you to be a valued partner with us at Shock Trauma, as we strive to fulfill our mission of dedication to maintaining world-class standards in the prevention and management of critical injury, illness, and its consequences. Thank you for all that you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. Now, before we get underway, you all have your cheesecake. All right, so all the requirements have been met. Surf and turf, cheesecake, good company. I'm concerned about some of the seating arrangements at some of these tables. All right, I did circulate before. But I'd really like to get us started the way we have traditionally started, at least in my tenure, and that is with these wonderful people. If you don't know Dr. Berger, who for years came and visited us during our banquet, had decided to retire, and he divested himself of the building and the business, and it's now under new management, new ownership, and moving its way through. But I thought we could not welcome the people who have prepared our meal tonight any better than the way we traditionally do. And this is for your benefit. And what this is the fire service of Maryland, right? Leadership from all across the state. And in an older time, all right, a much older time than all of you, right? Look at the age, right? A much older time than all of you. There was a time when the community firehouse was the core of the community and frequently gathered on a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday evening for a meal. And it was tradition that at the end of the meal, the people who prepared that meal were recognized. So today, at this, our fire officers banquet, we would like to recognize all of you for all of the effort put forth in preparing and serving the meal, and thank you for making us feel so welcome. It's a pleasure. Thank you all. I like that. That's good. I'm liking that. All right. Thank you very much. Right. All right. I have an announcement to make here that if you have not visited the table over here and you are an officer, a committee chair, and you are used to or you're in that position and get a gift from the president, please come over there so you can secure that gift there. We're going to move through quickly because you've seen introductions of our partners on the video. I want to recognize the past presidents of the Maryland State Firemen's Association, and I'm going to get all our past presidents to please rise collectively so that we can do that. So gentlemen, please. Chuck, outstanding. That was a quick rise, buddy. That was good. Our past presidents of the Maryland State Firemen's Association. Thank you very much. And also, I'll ask the past presidents of the Ladies Auxiliary to please rise so that we may recognize all of you. Teresa, thank you. Just sit the good Reverend down. He's having a little hearing issue tonight. I'd also like to recognize our out-of-state guests who are here this evening. So if you would all please rise. I saw many of you earlier. We've had a few words. Please rise, our out-of-state guests. I know we have our Delaware State Fire Marshal is with us, right? Thank you all. What an outstanding group. Thank you. Always a pleasure to have all of you with us this evening. Now, it's a great honor and a privilege to make this next introduction, and I had to ask for a little bit of dispensation to do this. For those of you that were in attendance in October at the officers' banquet that was held, we thoroughly enjoyed our time at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis. We could not have had a better event for what we needed to do and a venue for which we could do it. Early in the planning, we reached out to the superintendent of the Naval Academy and asked if he or a representative could please come and welcome the firemen of the state of Maryland. And he graciously dispatched a wonderful captain to us. And when I say a wonderful captain, I mean a gentleman who came to us, understood what we were about, and we embraced him because of that. It was a wonderful evening. You know, many times a person comes and is with us and boy, they got a busy schedule and they move on. This gentleman did not. He and his wife came and stayed and played. I mean, they were there until almost the very end. I think they might have been one of the last people to leave. And I wanted to introduce him tonight that way because he has a distinguished career in the United States Navy. But more importantly, we get to call him a friend of ours because of the way he came to us and embraced us in his first address. He currently serves, Captain Shane Holleran currently serves as a commanding officer of a Naval Reserve unit assigned to the U.S. European Command. He has done tours of duty across this world, sea duty, land duty, NORAD duty, underground duty, and many things in his tenure on his rise through the ranks of the Navy to that of captain. In 2012, in a reserve capacity, Captain Holleran supported the Office of Naval Intelligence, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff in various intelligence community agencies, and the U.S. Space Command. He has been the executive officer and commanding officer for several Navy units, and his current day job, he is a federal civilian employee with the intelligence community where he supports DOD and cyberspace community. It is a pleasure to have Captain Shane Holleran with us this evening, and would you please give him that same warm welcome.
Hey, good evening. How does this sound? In the back? Okay? All right. So it's getting that time of life, right? Oh my gosh. Well, it's an honor to be here with you tonight. Thank you, Richard, for the introduction. Thank you, Ron, for having me at your table. Thank you, Rose, for being our friend, family friend. Tonight we're celebrating the past presidents of the Maryland State Firefighters or Firemen's Association and the auxiliary, Joel and Becky. And I was happy to participate in this event last fall in Annapolis, and I was humbled to be asked to come again and join as well. And as I shared last year, there's a special family bond for us here. You know, my family's had the pleasure of knowing Rose for over 6 years now, and the fact that we can be part of the United States Naval Academy sponsor family program, we've had some 12 midshipmen pass through our doors, eat our food on the weekends, and it's been a good time to give them a home away from home and whatnot. It's kind of a public service announcement. If you're in the greater Annapolis area, sponsor a midshipman. But getting to know Rose has been great, and she's connected us to all of you, so we're really glad to be here today. And it's an act of service for my family when we support the midshipmen. We support our mids. We like to have the young folks around. They kind of rub off on my kids a little bit as well, so that's all good. It's about service and not so much sacrifice. And I'm going to just mention that we're talking about my home life only because I want to talk a little bit about the themes of service and sacrifice here tonight and family. You know, I'm blessed to have my beautiful wife Jeannie here with me tonight. Thank you. My youngest son Ryder. I have 2 older boys who can't be with us tonight, but I'll get to see another one of them on Father's Day tomorrow. I hope you all get to see your children on Father's Day. So, without much other ado, it's pure chance, I tell you, that I get to meet Joel and Barbara in person at the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Annapolis. Didn't plan for it in March, but I've been a marshal at that parade for many years. and helping the floats and groups get organized on the back streets of Annapolis before they kick off and they start to march down the main street. Hopefully some of you had the opportunity to enjoy that event. If not, it's a good time to get out there. This year I happened to be managing the back end of the parade where all the troublemakers are. So all of a sudden there's this raucous group of firefighter types that were lined up with a couple of their rigs. And in true fireman fashion, there was coffee and donuts, and then there was maybe a makeshift bar out of the back of someone's van. And I can neither confirm nor deny that beer and/or whiskey was offered and/or imbibed at that time. However, in my official marshaling duties, I could never do that. So, of course, Rose and Ron were in the middle of that, making that happen and leading the fun times for the parade. But off to the side, I run into Joel and his wife, Barbara. And Joel's in full parade regalia, lederhosen, high stockings, the whole thing, and his antique fire truck. So my wife, Jeannie, and I start talking to him and Barbara. And I learned that couple also does stand in for Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus on occasion. So if you ever need someone in the jam, if the Clauses are at their Aruba retreat, I guess once a year, then they have the McCreas on speed dial. So if you need that service, they're happy to support as well. But back to the parade. So there was the all-powerful marshal, yet I was powerless to stop this firefighter group, this juggernaut of party time. And at one point, I found myself debating how I was going to have to request that the MSFA floats, I have to get on my microphone, MSFA, and ask them to please be quiet because it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning at some backwater street in the well-to-do part of Annapolis. And they're cranked up on coffee and donuts, and they're blasting AC/DC, You Shook Me All night long. It was Sunday, right? On a setting of 11 on the volume dial, if that's an option. I'm not sure. So talk about party animals. That event alone there sold me that I had to come and meet you folks here at the beach. So good times, and I want my family to participate as well. You guys know how to have fun. And if you were curious, the parade went off without a hitch. So good. There weren't any police called to the back end of the parade at any time that I was aware of. So work hard and play hard. That's what I see in this crew. And I know that's a life motto for many of you folks in this room. Now, where is Joel and Becky? Okay, there you are, right there. I want to make sure I'm eyeballing you guys. The troublemakers. Were you at the parade, Becky? Did you make it? You didn't. Okay, so that's why we didn't call the police, because you weren't there. Okay, I understand that. But good times. I can tell it's a life motto for you folks. So, but in all seriousness, the chance parade meeting with Joel and Barbara was great in another way. We had a brief moment to talk about shared influences of family history, the importance of that and what that means. And then just now I had a chance to catch up with Becky outside this room here, and she too shared about the importance of family and where she's come to today. My service is manifest in a lifelong commitment to the profession of naval intelligence. And I've served my flag, as Richard meant, on many far-off locations, Western Europe, Afghanistan, Japan, the Pacific, the Arabian Gulf. And while different in terms of geographic scale, my service, Joel and Becky, have shared the same passion in serving their fellow Americans, but have done it maybe in their own hometown or their county or their state and on the state board of the association and auxiliary. Both of their lives have been focused on service to others, to preserving the safety and welfare of their neighbor, and I believe this has stemmed from family influence and the character that made you who you are today. Now, my comments will get a little lopsided for Joel only because I had the opportunity to meet his dad, and that's something I'll share about later on in my comments. So forgive me, Becky, if I spend a little extra time on Joel, but not to belabor the point. But Joel invited me to learn more about his family lineage and his tie to service a couple months back, and I was blessed to spend the afternoon with his father, Mac McCrea. And to hear that from one of the truly great members of America's greatest generation was something I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to just sharing with you folks a little bit about what that meant to me and what that means to Joel and who he is today. My grandfather was actually a World War II vet. He served in the Pacific. Joel's father was a technical sergeant in the famous Flying Tigers, the 14th Air Force, and he served in the Indo-Pacific theater. These types of vocations are not for the self-centered and the selfish, looking for riches. These professions are for those called to serve their country and their communities, and so it is with the outgoing presidents. Joel and Becky didn't choose military service or a medical healer's profession to serve their fellow neighbors, be it in the county or across the state. They chose the volunteer fire services to support and defend, and also they had day jobs as well, right? So we had Joel was a government special financial advisor on the staff of 4 governors, which was amazing. And then Becky just won me over. She's a Department of Navy civilian. I love it. So down there at Pax River as a program manager for the Fleet Readiness Center. So outstanding governmental support as well. Now both have brought a special fiduciary eye to the funds that they have purview over. Now, Joel shared with me about the relief fund and how much that he's been able to help up the number of loans that fund has given out to people in need, up to as many as over the life of the fund. I'm understanding it's some $25 million that have been lent out by that fund. So that's amazing. So that's a lot of help to those in need. And then Becky shared with me about the Bessie Marshall Fund and serving hundreds of families, not with line of duty determination, but outside of the line of duty. There's still people who need help when there's injury or sickness. And so the hundreds of families that have been helped with that fund has been amazing as well. And then I enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the public service announcements in terms of how in your house have the right fire smoke detectors allotted. And then I didn't know before, but we have a misfire safety prevention on the group as well. So good times. So a little bit of education on my part for what does a president do for the auxiliary? What does a president do for this firefighters association or firemen's association? So start with Joel. Not only did Joel protect the fiscal well-being of the state in his day job, wearing a suit and tie, talking to the governor, advising on finances, but he shared with me that on many a day, he drew the curious look of his fellow volunteer firefighters when he'd show up at a fire rescue scene, maybe in that same Madison Avenue stitch suit that he'd been wearing all day in the halls of power, not wearing the overalls or the Wrangler jeans and boots that maybe some of his more rural-focused or blue-collared styled friends and compatriots might have as they show up to the scene. But then when they saw his willingness and expertise to take that coat off and undo that tie and go pull a hose off the truck and maybe go in to save some personal and property, then he earned their respect. And as an excellent partner in life, Barbara also participates in longtime career of service and volunteering with the rehab units. So who doesn't need the rehab support when they're on the scene? And then there's the stories from the road trips, Becky, as life of a president of the auxiliary. So someone handed me something and it said that I had to read about the service of the auxiliary president. Well, so a couple of highlights of this current president or the outgoing president is that she never travels without snacks. Good to know. She always has to travel with a buddy for plenty of entertainment and to keep her awake. So I'm getting a sense there's a lot of road time and that you have a lot of fun. So snacks are key. So she can solve all the problems of the world while driving. So that's good to know. Sometimes she ends up in Georgetown when heading to Ridge. And then I don't know who these were from, but Barbara Sue. So always, when you're driving with Becky on the Beltway at midnight, when it's a full moon and you've driven backwards 3 times around the Beltway, look out for 2-legged cats crossing in front of the car at midnight, right? So there you go. Thank you, Barbara Sue, for sharing that, because that educated me on what the auxiliary president's life is like day to day. So good times. Now, if you will indulge me, I want to get off prepared comments just for a little bit, and then I wanted to stray just for a bit because, as I mentioned before, I actually got to meet a major contributor to Joel's character, and because it was a World War II veteran, there were certain leadership attributes I thought would be applicable I could share today. So I might go just a minute or two longer before Richard grabs the hook and pulls me off. So McCrea, his generation of veterans is rapidly leaving us, and it's worthy to honor them while they're still with us and talk about some of the lessons they could share. So in preparation for this celebration tonight, I met with Mac to understand the model and mentor that God had set before Joel, and I got to ask him about his exploits in the big war. His service in Indochina, supporting the Army Air Forces, was inspiring, and he flew as an air crew and a co-pilot on what we call the hump, the Himalayan mountains from India over to Indochina, sometimes again as co-pilot or as crew chief. And there were many times that he pulled down airmen out of harm's way and rescued them, and a couple times his aircraft was hit and he had to bail out twice himself. So this is the stuff of an epic saga of war in the Indochina theater. And it all started with the love of airplanes, which is what I got a kick out of. Little Mac McCrea, we say little, he's turning at 100. Little Mac got his first taste of flight back in, I think, 1932, and that love of flight led him to volunteer in the Army Air Corps, and then later in our nation's space program as an engineer at NASA. His life was a testament to service, and Joel picked up those habits in spades. Okay, so to finish on my time with Mac McCrea, I asked him what he thought about his son's service in the fire and rescue service and what similarities Mac saw between the military and the fire rescue service. And first of all, his response was he was very proud of Joel for doing what he does. And then he said training and discipline. So training and discipline are the similarities that Mac saw between the military and the fire and rescue. And then he mentioned when in combat, we all tried to help one another out. Both are sentiments of a warrior's code. whether it be in the military or in the fire service. And on a happy note, Max celebrated his 100th birthday this past week. And I was glad to hear that came with a parade, as it were, in front of his home with some local veterans group. Joel organized a drive-by, which included firefighters, a neighborhood and church groups, a motorcycle group, antique vehicles, and a Ravens Roost. I'm a Patriots guy, but okay. Give it up for the Ravens Roost for Max's birthday. There were also politicians with resolutions and many friends. A life well lived, Mac. A life well lived indeed, to be loved by so many on your 100th birthday. May God grant many of us that type of birthday. So yeah, we'll give it up for Mac. That's good. Okay, thanks for indulging me there. You can put the hook down again. Sorry, Richard. And now back to prepared marks. So talking about leadership is what I'd like to discuss, and the translation between the military and the fire services. You know, my experience as a midshipman and a naval officer, I honed my leadership skills by hours of training, and I was then further refined. That was further refined by naval discipline, driving me to execute the tradecraft with that specific tradecraft intelligence with tenacity and integrity. And I learned more by observing the best leaders. In my opinion, those live by a strict personal discipline to consistently be servant leaders. I learned from them that you can't put mission first without putting people always. And it's a code I try to live by. I try to focus on team over the individual. And due to the gathering here, I would think that your two presidents outgoing, I think they too put the team above individual. And I think it's fair to say that they live their life that way as well. So to the audience, I applaud you for supporting Joel and Rebecca in their time as president, and I would encourage you to celebrate the accomplishments that the association and the auxiliary have enjoyed during their watch. And I would exhort you to keep pressing on because the impact is real. Now more than ever, the support of your organizations provides this state volunteers companies, the support that it provides the voluntary companies is so important. Many of our communities won't have the successful volunteer fire and rescue services and EMS services they need without the training and education, the recruitment programs, the loan and grant products, and the bereavement support provided by the association and the auxiliary. Your continued successful mission accomplishment is directly related to great teamwork, organizational focus, and leadership. And it's fitting to gather each year and honor the offices of the presidents of the association and the auxiliary. And like the military, your service too will pour out the last full measure when called upon in defense of your neighbor. I like to read in John chapter 15:13, quote, "There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends." The military and fire rescue services embody this creed. As I shared in the fall banquet, I swore to defend the Constitution and to well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I entered. The parallels from a military mindset to service in a fire company are many: to serve one's community on the front lines, defending home and hearth from destruction, and caring for your fellow citizens. I would offer that those missions are best executed by a team of servant leaders, by those who sacrifice comfort and time at home to take care of their neighbor, and to take care of the force. They too will heed the call of Isaiah in chapter 6, verse 8. "I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send? And who will go with us or for us?' Then I said, 'Here am I, send me.'" Like all of you here tonight, Joel and Barbara and Becky have served in have said those words in their hearts, and they'll continue to do so after tonight. I know they'll continue to say, "Here I am, send me." And when we last convened in the fall, I shared some attributes exhibited by past presidents, attributes that exemplified the principles of their leadership. For Joel, the servant heart he had, I saw that he leads by example. He gives selflessly to the volunteer fire service. And then getting to chat with Becky, understanding how much community means to her in making relationships and making memories with folks as she travels around the state. So she mentioned it made at least 11 years, took at least 11 years to get the position she has now. So that's a lot of good memories, a lot of friendships that she's made, and how important it was to her that her parents recognized early the leadership skills she had inside her, and they were supportive of her. So, and on that note, I'd like to close my comments. I know it's getting late, so I am going to close the comments with two observations, though, and they're going to be observations about pie. I know we had cheesecake tonight, but I'm going to make observations about pie. Yes, dessert pie. So when Joel's dad, Mac, was 10 years old, he attended a circus in upstate New York. There were demonstration planes in a roped-off area, And he knew that a ride on one of those planes was going to cost $1. Now, $1 back in 1932, you know, I can't do the math, but I'm sure it was a lot. So he knew that his mom had a fresh baked apple pie 3 miles down the road. So he goes back and wraps up a piece of pie, and he takes his dad's canteen or whatever, and he made sure that he told me their farm made 2 gallons of milk a day. So he took some of that fresh milk and poured it in that canteen, and then he rode his bike back down to the circus, and he went up to the pilot and said, "Hey, I got fresh pie and milk here." And that pilot's like, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" So there you go. That's how the power of pi for currency purposes. If anyone's wondering, pi equals currency. The other one that I want to share about is pi came from my brother. So my brother's a firefighter in Boston. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to talk to a bunch of firefighter types. What's something that I could share or some kind of relationship, contact I can make with them?" He said, "We'll talk about pi." I said, "Okay." He said, "I'm a firefighter in Boston, and you tell them that up here we're the same." And I said, "What does that mean?" "Well, you tell them there's always a piece of pie left, one piece of pie left on the plate, on the table in the kitchen." And I said, "Why do you do that?" He said, "They'll know." Okay, so I'm going to ask anyone. Does anyone know why there's one piece of pie left on the table in the kitchen at Firehouse? Exactly, right there. So, well, at least in a Beantown fire barn, and apparently here in Maryland too, there's always one piece left on the table because no one wants to wash the dishes, right? Good times. So two stories on pie for the price of one. That's all good. I love it. So finally, to the honorees tonight, I say, well done, Joel and Becky, and congratulations on your tour as president. You were tested and you were found worthy. You kept your teams focused on mission, and you well and faithfully discharged the duties of the office that you were in. You earned the trust of your team, and they thrived, and I'm glad that I could join you all tonight and to celebrate this event. And thank you all for having me here and my family here tonight with you guys on this weekend at the beach. It's a great time to be down here. May God bless the rest of your time together this week for the good events you're doing. May He continue to bless the U.S. military and the Fire Rescue Service. Thank you.
I would never even try, all right? Captain, thank you very much. I'm going to say a couple things, and I want them to be taken as seriously as possible. What happened to your hometown cheering section? Is everybody ever? Look, you're laughing at me. Yeah, you got it. Because in October, every time the man hit a point in his speech, woohoo, we'd get that right out of his wife. So I'm sitting there with my back to her, just kind of cringing, waiting for the first time. Now, the point to that is I wanted to make sure you got your recognition this evening. So thank you for being here, Mrs. Holler, and thank you for escorting your husband. Thank you very much. Now, Shane, you've earned a place in our lives here, okay? Don't give it away, right, to your brother. Because I got to tell you, there's a lot of us that recognize that story of his. The only part he left out is a pie is sliced into usually equal parts, right? Whatever, 8, 10 pieces. That last piece of pie, do you realize how small that last piece can get? Because a firefighter can trim a piece of pie to nothing so that they don't have to clean that dish. That's what that's all about. And I'm sure he shared that with you. Captain, thank you so much for being here again, your family to be with you as well. We really appreciate the friendship that you bring to all of us. Thank you so much. And as the gentleman said, we are here for our honorees this evening, and that is our 2 presidents. So what I would like to do at this time is introduce the Maryland State Firemen's Association President for 2021 and 2022, President Joel McCrea, for his remarks. Mr. President.
All right. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I want to thank the Baltimore County Honor Guard for a fine job that they did and a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. I want to thank the always entertaining Richard Brooks for the job that he's done, like so many years in the past. Thank you, sir. I want to thank Shane for his comments, his fine comments. Truly humbling experience. Thank you. Although this is an evening to honor Becky and myself, it's our opportunity to say thank you to all of you for everything that you do. This is an amazing organization full of dedicated and hardworking individuals. And it's because of you, this organization has accomplished so much. Each of you brings something special to the table. And we are successful because we have worked as a team. Over the past 2.5 years, we have been faced with some unique and difficult challenges. To our testament, we have learned to adapt and overcome, and our companies never stop providing services to our communities. Working together, the MSFA never stopped the business of serving our member companies. So I'm here tonight to say thank you to all of you. There are some special thank yous I would like to make tonight. I talk about teamwork, and I count myself fortunate to have two very supportive vice presidents. I can't say enough about these two gentlemen. We were in constant communication, agreed on a number of initiatives that we wanted to carry forward and we wanted to accomplish, and we shared the load in doing this. I also want to thank the Ladies Auxiliary. We're very fortunate in the state of Maryland to have the auxiliary and have so many auxiliaries supporting their fire companies. So I want to thank the leadership of the auxiliary. Also, the MSFA is very fortunate to have an executive director and an executive assistant. As officers of this organization, we move through the chairs, but these two fine ladies are the constant and do more of the work behind the scenes than you will ever know. So Kate, I talk with almost every day, and sometimes more than once a day. And when we talk, I always ask, how you doing? And pretty much every time she says, what? Peachy. She says peachy. So tonight, Kate, if you look in your bag, I've got you some peachy items. And Lynn, although we don't talk as much, Lynn has a beaming personality that I'm glad to have in the office. And for her, if you look in your bag, you find a nice candle in there. So thank you, ladies. Well, I will tell you, over the past 3 years, it's been my privilege to travel the state and make so many new friends and to catch up with so many acquaintances that I've known for the years. We've also attended way too many funerals. But as we come together to say goodbye to our brothers and sisters, it's clear that we come together as a family. The fire service is truly a family that supports one another. And I tell you, I'm also thankful for the support that's provided by my family that are here tonight. And I'd like to introduce the members of my family around the table. Erna Scarcella and her husband John and their two children, Erica and Mason. Andrew McCrea and his wife Sarah and their son Beckett, which I don't see. Outside, okay. Who hail from Newport News, Virginia. Thank you for making the journey to join us this evening. Joel McCrea, that name may sound familiar, and his wife, Catherine. Thank you. Also joining us tonight are some dear friends, Greg and Cindy Cole, who left Maryland a few years ago to enjoy the sunny shores of North Carolina. Hope you're enjoying that. Also, somebody I'm sure everybody knows, Hobie Howell, and his wife Diane. Thank you for joining us this evening. Also tonight at the table, we have Rick Iyer and his daughter Amy. Rick and Amy are part of a 3-generation family, which is the anchor of our company, Long Green. So I'm very pleased to have them join us this evening. Also joining us, a longtime friend and former Baltimore County Association President, Buddy Staggerwald, and his wife Deb. Thank you. And then a dear friend who has helped me so much over the years, Ted Wooden and his wife Sharon. Ted has been a big part of the cadet programs we have run in Baltimore County over the years, and I thank him for those efforts. Ted also does a lot of embroidery, so all the stuff you see, he's taught me to do. So thank you, Ted. So, and also I had invited as another guest, but he chose to sit with another group of people. Everybody knows Commander of the Harford County Honor Guard, Buddy Schreers, and his wife, Mary. Thank you. Also joining us earlier this evening was Chief of the Baltimore County Fire Department, Joanne Runn. She had another event she had to move on to, but I'm glad she could join us. And last, but most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife, Barb. I could not and would not have done this without you. It has indeed been my honor and privilege to serve you over these past 3 years, and especially this past year as president. So if I could ask President of the Ladies Auxiliary to join us this evening. And we have some special gifts sitting on the table there. Yes, all of those. All right, thank you. All right.
Alrighty.
All righty. Do we want to have our VPs join us up here as well? Gentlemen, you join me? Or the
Ladies, Malia and Jean. My junior vice president and senior vice president.
All right. First to the President of Ladies Auxiliary. It's been a pleasure working with you this year. We've had a lot of good conversations. We both traveled around the state. So I present to you a handmade gift.
Okay.
Barb made this gift. And
Want me to-
yes, please open
Okay.
that. And ladies, if you could join us up here, please.
Oh, nice.
It's a map of the state with black-eyed citizens on it, and for each of you, the same remembrance of your year. So, gentlemen, if you would.
Cheese.
I think that goes to you, and that goes to you. You'll find out when you open it. Gentlemen, I can't say enough about the cooperation we've had, the support we have given each other, especially your support for me over the past year. So please accept these as my tokens of appreciation. Thank you. Gentlemen, you want-
It's a box. That's a watch. Very pretty.
It's engraved on the back for you.
Okay. Very
Make
pretty.
sure you got the right one.
Wait a minute, I got Eric Smothers on there.
Okay.
No, I was.
That's it. And we show a gold watch with an MSFA insignia on it.
Thank
Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
So Joel, Thank you for being my president this year. I've enjoyed working with you, and this is a small token of my friendship to you.
Thank you.
Don't go nowhere, guys.
That's tough stuff.
Hey, wait till you see the box.
Yeah, a lovely, lovely box. Look at that in a moment. All right. Oh, very nice. It's a pizza.
He's not kidding either.
Thank you.
And Eric?
Pizza.
But it doesn't say McCrea. And then Jean and Malia. Yours don't say McCrea, but they are the same. So. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. And I have to leave it to Captain Holleran, the intelligence officer, to find the one person in this room that knows all the secrets about the road trip. But she failed to mention that she's the one that needs all the snacks. It's a low blood sugar thing or something. You can't leave home without them. But yes, we've had a lot of fun. I'd like to introduce my guests tonight. With me is my son, JW, who's standing over there. His significant other, Amber. My friends from the Ridge Volunteer Fire Department, I have past President Heavy Ridgel and his wife, Brenda. Past President Charlie Bradburn and his wife, Cindy. Matthew Ridgel and his wife, Allie. And my Auxiliary President, Debbie Fairfax, and Vice President, Jessica Snyder, and Jessica Snyder's husband, Tim. And of course, if you came to any of the conferences, you know that my hospitality committee, who are experts at this by now, we have the president of the Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department, Bill Mattingly, and his wife, Maureen. His little brother, Barry, and his wife, Cindy. And Calvin Joy and his wife, Patty. Thank you for being here tonight with me. Yeah, they're chicken farmers, yep. So, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my husband, Johnny, and my son, JW, for allowing me to take this journey. It's been 11 long years, and I made a lot of friends, but it's been well worth the trip. And I also want to thank Richard Brooks, because I can remember when I went in as vice chaplain, nobody knew how to say my last name. And when I did the prayer at installation that night, Richard, do you remember what I said? I said, please, dear Lord, let Richard Brooks learn how to say my last name before I become president. And thankfully, he has. So thank you, Richard. Charlie Simpson needs some help, though. Okay. Oh. Anyway, it's been a very rewarding and exciting experience. A very wise past president, Frank Underwood, told me when I started, it's all about the memories. And that statement couldn't have been more true. And this couldn't have been better without meeting the people and the places and the events that I will share in my memories forever and hold close to my heart. I'd like to thank my past president, Leon Gatton, who has been by my side every step of the way. And I certainly appreciate everything that she's done for me. While we may not have talked often, her expression told me everything, whether it was good or bad. I've reached out to many past presidents over the years and have listened intently to their suggestions and advice. Whenever a road trip with one of them presented itself, I used that time to listen and to ask questions and to learn about the job that I had ahead of me. It proved very powerful in fulfilling my duties over the past years. I especially want to thank my home department, the Ridge Volunteer Fire Department, for all their support over the years. We have a special chauffeur, Heavy Ridgel, who's expert at that as long as you keep his coffee cup filled. And of course, my friends at Hollywood Fire Department, who were always there when I needed them, my hospitality specialist. As my year is quickly coming to an end, I'm dedicating this week to a special person in my life who could not be here with me this week, but will always be in my heart. Thank you again for all the love and support that I've received across the state, and I look forward to joining the Past Presidents Club on Wednesday, even though I think they've scared me, and I don't know whether to go to that luncheon or not. So, thank you.
Thank you, Presidents. Let me begin with Madam President. And thank you very much. I'm glad my memory is short and I don't remember those things. Wah, I got that part. That's how I remembered. I was schooled by you on that. 11 years ago, and I always thoroughly enjoy recognizing the ladies as they have that 13-year-ish journey from their first office in the Ladies Auxiliary through to the presidency. Now, if I can take a left-hand turn there, what I thoroughly enjoyed about Becky was I got to spend time with her husband, which meant I got to go to Southern Maryland, which meant I got to spend time with some of the best partiers in the world. All right? And I need to stop that right there because anything else is going to be incriminating. Right? Especially the Mattingly brothers, but that's all part of that group. Because I know once I get to Hollywood, crossing the bridge when I get to Hollywood, whether I take a left to go to Ridge or not, it's party central, it's going to find me, and I'm good with it. And we'll go from there. So, Madam President, yes, ma'am, what?
They won't be back.
Oh, they'll be back. Oh, yes, ma'am. They may not be back here, but I know where they're going to be, right? So thank you. I don't need Prince George's County to jump into this, okay? So thank you, Madam President. I'm thrilled you had a great 11 years. I'm even more thrilled that you had a great presidency. Mr. President, what an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure because I take pride in ownership, right? In that you're from Baltimore County and I was raised in the fire service, first in Baltimore County, and we had a relationship, although distant at that time, because then Cowington didn't run with Long Green unless it was really, really good, right? That and the fact that we both had jobs, right? So we didn't get to see ourselves that often except at meetings, right? And here you've turned, right, from that everyday job to a full-time job of accepting the responsibility through the chairs. Now, if you all expect me to stand here and start to have fun with the president, you all explain to me how you make fun of a finance guy. And I can't do that. Pardon me? You move the decimal. Thank you, Madam President. I hope you get to go back to. I hope you return to square dancing. Do you still? Or you're not? No. German folk dancing. I'm sorry. Right, German folk dancing. I hope you go back to that. Right? I've seen that. You've seen you do that before, and that's wonderful. And we wish you the very best, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a big hand for both our presidents. And I would be remiss because I want to recognize these three wonderful ladies who are with us, and you'll understand completely as I do this. We have with us Mrs. Barb Nippenberg is with us this evening. Barb, where are you? I saw you. I didn't get to say hello. Of course, she just left. That's great. Mrs. Joan Robinson, I see her back there. Hi, Joanne, right? All those things. Thank you. Lovely to see you. And Mrs. Rose Davis, right, is in the back of the room as well. Thank you for being here with us. God love you. Wonderful to see you all. All right, we have work to do. We're going to call this to a conclusion, and we're going to set off tomorrow with several meetings. Folks, this is probably going to be one of the toughest weeks at convention that we have ever had. Right? It sounds like fun, doesn't it? No, it's not. Right? But we're going to get through it. We are all going to get through it. Right? And we will get through it together, and we will get through it with the work that has to be done. We brought in professionals, or a professional, to help us through this, and we just need to vote to do the right thing. That's the decision of the delegate, right? That's all I'm going to say. We have to do that. Please, please, please pay attention. Pay attention, because we're going to give out instructions first thing on Monday morning. We're going to give instructions first thing on Monday morning, and that's going to carry us through. Some of that will be identified tomorrow at the executive meeting. We're going to return to normal. I think that's most important. We have got to return to normal. We haven't seen each other in this. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you. We're going to battle our way through this. Our friends and neighbors from our neighboring states are here to join us. We've gathered from around the state, and we're going to do that and keep our health in check. We're going to keep good health with good practices as we go on. That's what we do anyway, right? We are the Maryland Fire Service. So as we leave here tonight, keep some of those things in mind. Understand that we've got that tough work to do, but we're going to do it. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I know what to do with the centerpieces. I have no idea what to do with this.
We have an announcement.
You have an announcement to make. We'll come up here and make the announcement, all right? I don't want to make my announcement for the centerpieces because it's going to destroy the rest of the evening here. They're going to get caught up with that. All right. Presidents, you have an announcement to make. Is that what this is?
That's right. So my officers, please make sure you pick up your gift before you leave tonight.
Okay, everyone, as you checked in, you've got a little ticket. And we ask that, hopefully you got some instructions that on your way out, turn that ticket in. There is a gift waiting for you, and we were going to flash that up on it's on the screen. So Becky and I are proud to introduce our coins. There's one for each of you this evening as you leave. Thank you.
Okay. Good deal. All right, so I'll pass it on to you. Turn around and take it. Could I ask Jennifer Johnson, chaplain for the Ladies Auxiliary, to please come forward? No, you're right here. No wonder you were standing. I thought that was you that passed me behind. All right, go ahead.
All right. Before we close the evening out, just a quick reminder that the worship service will be tomorrow morning in room 208 at the Convention Center, beginning at 10:30. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for bringing us all together again and wishing Becky and Joel a wonderful last few days. You did an amazing year. We pray that you put your healing hands on all of those that are not able to be with us this evening or here this week. May the sun shine and everyone enjoy the rest of the convention. Amen.
That's part of the instructions this evening, Ed. First of all, thank you from me for allowing me to be a part of the program tonight. Travel safe. Thank you. Travel safely, and we'll see you at the convention center. Please be careful crossing Ocean Highway. Thank you all. Have a great night.